Pipebomb Radio. What? With your hosts, Felix Olmedo and Austin James.
This voice, this is power. In anybody else's hands, this is a microphone. In my hands, it's a pipe bomb. It's showtime! Woo!
Welcome, everybody, to a Friday night edition of Pipebomb Radio. You know, who would ever thought we would actually be on a Friday night, folks? But hey, you know what? We can do our thing any night of the week, including twice on Sunday if we have to. But
because
we're getting that much closer. We're getting that much closer to WrestleMania, man. Are you excited?
Definitely. I just seen just a few seconds ago. I seen a full set they revealed in the Legends of WrestleMania thing they did on the WWE Network just a second ago, and it looks so phenomenal. I think it's going to be so great. It's huge. I thought it was going to be. I mean, I've seen clips of it, like little snips of it, over the past days. But they just revealed the entire thing. I'm like, oh my god. The Superdome will be rocking and rolling.
And ladies and germs, I want to actually let you guys know that today is actually Austin's birthday.
Oh, yeah,
happy birthday. Happy birthday, young old-timer.
Yeah, I know, I'm getting really old. You know, I'm moving along.
Yeah, well, hey, you know what? Shut up. But we did say we would get Mr. Shamrock back. And lo and behold, that's why we're back. We got him, and he is going to be waiting for us to call him. So, without any further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's get him on the line.
Most dangerous man's about to be on Pipebomb Radio.
We'll be talking more afterwards, of course. But here we go.
Please enjoy this Verizon ringback tone while your party is reached.
Hello.
Hello, is this Mrs. Shamrock?
Yes, it is.
Hi, this is Felix and Austin from Pipebomb Radio. Is Mr. Shamrock available?
Yep. Hold on 1 second. Let me go get him.
You got it. You got it.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Shamrock. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing?
Doing good. It's myself, Felix, here, and then Austin's listening in as well.
All right. Cool.
We are glad we were able to get you back on here. We figured it was, after having a lot of fun time with you last summer, it'd be time to bring you back and see what you've been up to since then. And with WrestleMania season coming back around here, coming on, I guess, this Sunday, it'd be a good fit to have a former WrestleMania competitor on with us tonight. So, how you been doing? Everything doing good for you?
Yeah, just something, having fun, enjoying life. Got some different projects I got going on, and I've got a Pro Fit 101, which is a self-defense class online. So we're working on that. We're doing some different type of advertisement to spruce it up a little bit. We got a drink called Shamrock Slam that we have out. We're still trying to roll it out through LA and different places, and looking at places like GNC possibly to launch it there. But that's in the works. So it's an energy drink, and it's healthy, and one that finally works. So I've got a couple reality shows we're doing, one with the Protect Executive Service for protecting clients from different countries and also here in the States. There's possibility we'll be doing a reality show with that. And we've got the Shamrock a reality show, which there's some people inquiring about that. So we're in the process of negotiating some of that stuff. Then there's something with me and my brother Frank, which is possibly a fight, kind of a fight thing where two people have kind of a beef, and we have a very unique way of settling their beef, and we go to different towns to do that. So that's also another one that we've already shot the sizzle reel on. So I'm definitely staying busy. There's definitely no doubt that I'm definitely staying busy. We're in the process right now. I just got back from this weekend. Just got back today. That we're also, which is my passion, possibly start to make some moves towards, which I've been trying to do for a while, but there's a lot of red tape stuff you have to cut through, is to start working with boys and girls, troubled youth. So we're starting to move forward on that too. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. A lot of stuff keeps me busy.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I've actually seen that recent.
No, I was just going to go ahead, Austin. You go ahead and ask him his question.
I was going to say recently I've seen that you actually went to Battle Arts Academy in Mississauga, Ontario, and I had never been to that place, and I am a fanatic about it because there's every single form, almost every single form of MMA, everything over there. And I've seen you actually did a seminar last month. How was that?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. I really love the opportunity to pass on the things that I've learned over the years. It's sad to see, but I know the reasons why. That you don't see so many leg locks in there is because, one, they call me the world's most dangerous man, and they don't allow those leg locks and heel hooks and knee bars and different things in the amateur events because they say they're too dangerous. So that's why you don't see a lot of them at the pro level, because as an amateur, if you don't practice them, you're not going to use them as when you get up to be a pro. So it's really nice whenever I get an opportunity to be able to teach these things. And the real reason is they don't want to use those things because it can't be any more dangerous than a kick to the head or a knee to the head or an elbow to the head. So I just look at it like I think it's because a lot of instructors and people that study in the arts of grappling or jiu-jitsu don't like it because it's actually a counter to the guard when you're using leg locks. So they don't teach those. It's because they don't want people to start learning how to perfect leg locks and be able to kill the guard.
And Mr. Shamrock, I actually wanted to mention on Austin's behalf, ever since we had you on last July, you've really, I think you more than anybody else really had an effect on him as far as inspiration, because after we had you on, he got right into working with jiu-jitsu and making that part of his repertoire when getting into professional wrestling. And I thought that was pretty neat that he had really such an impact on him that he decided to pursue something like that.
Well, that's great, man. I'm happy for him. I think you gotta, this is short. You're really surprised about how really short life is, and if you don't, reach out and try and do things that are, maybe possibly a dream or something that you want to do, time flies by, man, and then you lose that opportunity. So, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he did it.
And it was it was 1 week after. I I got involved in jiu-jitsu, and 8 months later, I'm still doing it, and I love it so much. Not just because, it's wrestling, just the people. I don't know. With wrestling, I think it's different from other sports. There's a lot of respect that's involved in it that I think not all the other sports have. More or less, I think wrestling has just so many people are supporting each other throughout the entire time. Yeah,
it really is. It's kind of weird. But I guess you kind of get that in a lot of different types of sports, of the different levels of respect. So, but I look at it like this, in order to reach a professional level in anything, I don't care if it's checkers or chess. There's an elite group of people that can reach that level, and if you can do that, no matter what it is, that means that you're that 1% in the world that has been able to reach that level at whatever it is you're doing, and you've got to be able to respect that.
Absolutely. And I was wondering, too, I had seen that you had dabbled a little bit, and I think you might have mentioned this in what you were talking about, of being a bodyguard type person, that you were working with celebrities, you were being their bodyguard, if that's the proper way of saying that, about bodyguard or security or whatever you want to call it.
Right. It's funny too, because when I say it, because I really try to speak not like a politician where they use all these big words and people don't understand the direction they're going. I try to speak from a place where people will understand me. And so when I use the word bodyguard or security, I get one or two guys that will get on and say, where'd you get your training, man? They don't use that word anymore. It's not bodyguard anymore. And I text them back and say, well, excuse me, but I was trying to use a term that everybody would understand. But if you want me to, I will say exactly what it is. Executive clients, executive security. Am I okay now?
That is pretty funny. Yeah, because I know you were working with Fergie at one point, weren't you?
What's that?
Well, we asked two questions at once. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Austin.
I was going to say, was there, like, the time you're escorting these guys, these celebrities, did anybody actually come up to you more so than the actual celebrity?
No. And that's one thing I have to really respect my fan base, because a lot of people would notice me, and I would just look at them and say I'm working. But later on, if you catch me around afterwards, I'd be happy to. But while I'm here, this is my job right now, and they're very, very, very respectful. And so I never really had a problem with it. Although there was a lot of people that wanted to, but when I said I'm working, they were very respectful, and I really appreciated that.
That's good. That's very good. And I actually wanted to ask you about something in regards to when you worked with Jeff Jarrett years ago. He since has left TNA Wrestling. He's no longer a part of the company, but he and his wife are starting up something new and trying to get the curiosity going out in the world. They're trying to get people wondering what they're going to be doing. If, per se, he were to start a new organization, possibly a new wrestling company, and called you on the horn, say tomorrow or next week, say, Ken, I'm going to be starting a new company. Would you come down and work with me for a couple of months or so to get this thing off the ground? Would that be ever something that you'd be interested in going back into wrestling with?
Absolutely. I would. I've always respected them guys, and for the effort they put into pro wrestling, and I know they love it. It's their heart, and they've put their life into it, and they've treated me well, and always treated me well. So I would not be against whatever it is they had going to help them out.
Now, go ahead, Austin.
I was going to say, WrestleMania is actually this Sunday, WrestleMania 30. And you actually have the opportunity to participate in 3 WrestleManias. And the first one you were in, WrestleMania 13, as actual special guest referee between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And you've probably been asked this question 37,000 times, but I'm asked it again. How was it actually, the atmosphere and actually working between, those two guys, two of the best to ever live? How was it like? It must have been insane.
It was. At the time you really don't know. I know when I was in there, I got lost in the match. Those two guys were definitely going after each other. It was very aggressive. And I know those guys definitely put it on the line, and they went after each other, and they really put on a great match, and they put each other's body at risk, because they wanted it to be as real as they could get it. And I was in there and watching it, and some of the things that they did was just absolutely impressive. And so for me to be a part of that was just tremendous, to sit there on the outside and watch and become a part of something that was so great. And I don't think people realized at the time, but if you look back on it now, Vince McMahon had an idea that he was trying to turn pro wrestling into something more edgy and rough cut. And by bringing me in from the MMA world to ref that match between Stone Cold and Bret, which was, to me, pretty damn close to an MMA fight, was a tremendous move for Vince, because he didn't have the talent that he had. They all left and went to the WCW, and left Vince hanging. And Vince, again, brilliantly changed the model of pro wrestling and made it more like a real edgy and tough and attitude. And because he brought me in from that MMA world and then matched me with two great workers and had basically a submission match, a tremendous match, that it turned the direction of pro wrestling into his favor with the people that he had in his organization. If you look at it prior to that match and prior to me coming to the WWF or WWE, there was certain holds that people did either for finishes or for a rest hold. Now you have these arm bars and leg locks and knee bars and flying triangles and all these different types of submissions that people use in their match, not just for a finish or just for a rest hold. They're actually part of matches now. And it's tremendous to watch the birth of pro wrestling and MMA mixed together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask, too, I mean, during that time when people were constantly jumping ship and going for the money down south, were you ever approached by Bischoff or anybody in his organization about maybe jumping over to WCW?
Well, I had an opportunity to probably go wherever I wanted to go after, I had ran into issues with the MMA world where, they were being shut down off of pay-per-view and I had to go somewhere else to make money. And so I had opportunities in Japan and I had opportunities here in the States. And Vince basically, when I sat down with Vince, he sold me just with his vision and the direction that he really wanted to go. And he allowed me to be myself. And I didn't have to play a character. I got to play me. And so I sat down with Vince and I was sold immediately. I loved his vision. And I loved the direction that he wanted to go, and I was a part of it. And so I immediately jumped on board, and I was very happy.
And people usually say that the most successful guys in professional wrestling are the ones that go out and be themselves, basically turn it up to 10. And they're still themselves, not really a character, but somewhat kind of, they're really connected to fans. Like, yes, one of the most notable guys you can say is Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is 110%, I think, Stone Cold Steve Austin outside the ring, same person in the ring. I mean, he's really just aggressive, and I think that's why he connected with all the people that he did with.
Well, I know with Stone Cold that for a long time he struggled to really push the different characters that he had, and then when Vince came up with this edgy type person, I think that was who Stone Cold was. I think that's the real kind of guy he is. He loves to hunt. He hates to be told what to do. And if he has to, he'll throw down if someone crosses him. So I think the reason why he was so successful with that character was because I think it was him. That's who he is. That's who he is. He's a good person. He's down to earth, but don't mess with me.
Dang. Yeah, that's definitely true. Have you actually, what would you say now? I mean, do people approach you more now than they used to back then? The reason I say that is because with the launch of the WWE Network, the newer fans are being introduced to the generations that came before this generation and see different stars like people from the Attitude Era like yourself. And I mean, what do you say about that? I mean, have you actually checked out the WWE Network yourself at all?
No, I haven't, but I like it. And I'm happy. The fans should really get the opportunity to be able to choose, who they want to watch and what kind of wrestling they want to watch. Right now they're having to watch things, and I think it's getting better. There's no question. I think that they're starting to move in the right direction. But I still think there's that thing missing, that thing that Vince created, that really turned wrestling into something really proud to watch. Nobody would be closet wrestling fans. They would come out and say, "Yeah, it was a cool thing," and it needs to. I think it's getting better, but it's still something missing. It's still that attitude that kick ass, screw you, I'm going to do what I'm going to do type attitude. Everybody seems to kind of. I would love to see people just let them be themselves, let the attitude come out. I think they're being controlled too much. And again, like I said, it's just my opinion, and I could be way off. But I'm glad that they're showing these old things so people can really look and see what we were talking about, the edginess and the toughness that was portrayed during that time, and they can make the decisions for themselves of whether or not we're accurate with our comments or not.
Absolutely. At this point, it would be worth mentioning, too, that I myself would love to see a matchup between some of the more intense competitors like yourself, maybe a match between you, Kurt Angle, maybe a Steve Blackman, maybe somebody from this generation we could put in here. I don't know. What do you think, Austin? Maybe a CM Punk or Daniel Bryan in like a fatal four-way and just let them go at it. That would be a very interesting match with great competitors. I think to see you in there mixing it up with everybody would be awesome.
Well, and I would, and the thing that, and I'll say it again, whatever reason, it doesn't matter to me if they bring me back or not. I would love to come back, and I've pretty much told them I want to come back, and I've pretty much begged, not because it's really all that, like it's a whirlwind loss or anything like that, but it's because I have a passion for it, and I thought I did enough to be able to come back. But if that's not the case, that's fine. But I've always, and I will always stand on my credentials. And I've told this before, you could put anybody against me at any time, and if I lose, I walk away. But if I win, I stay.
That makes perfect sense. Obviously, I mean, at this point, you're definitely doing, keeping yourself busy, but there is still that interest of maybe going back. Whether it doesn't necessarily have to be with WWE, as I mentioned with Jeff Jarrett. If he were to pursue another wrestling organization, he said you wouldn't mind working with him. Or for that matter, if maybe Dixie Carter and her people reached out to you for TNA, I'm sure you wouldn't mind coming back to them either. But,
no, like I said, I've gone to other organizations and have done some run-ins and different things of that nature, and just getting my feet back out there and just testing the waters a little bit. I don't want to jump right into it right away because I don't want to endanger anybody. Not until I'm ready. I don't want to endanger myself. But when I do step back in there, I will be ready. And like I said, if someone gave me the green light and said, yeah, we'd like you to come in a certain amount of time, and they give me a date that I shoot for, I would be ready for that date. But right now, I basically just keep myself in physical, tip-top shape. And if I had an opportunity to go back and wrestle, then I would put my weight back on because, a lot of times you give up a lot of weight to a lot of those guys. So I would definitely need, anyways 4 to 6 weeks to get, put my 10 pounds back on to be able to compete with the bigger guys. So, but again, like I said, I got no problem proving my worth. I got no problem stepping in there against anybody they put against me and putting my career on the line. If I win, I stay. If I don't, I walk away.
There you go. Hey, put that in WrestleMania, folks. That would work for me. But I wonder, too, during that time when in those years that you were there with the WWE and known pranksters that they were back then, guys like the Bulldog or Owen or anybody else, I mean, were you ever one that was pranked, and if so, by who?
Well, with nothing real big, just, weird stuff. One story that really was always funny to me. It wasn't really a prank, but Steve Blackman was always kind of a penny pincher. I mean, he would stay in the dirtiest motels. If it was $9, he would stay in it. And the waters would be running brown, but, I mean, he was really tight. And I remember one time we went out to eat, and he would get halfway through his meal, almost all the way done, and then he would pull out of his pocket this bag, and it would have a fly in it. And he would throw this fly in his food, and then he would go, oh, my gosh, look at this. Oh, I'm going to get sick. And the waiters would come over, and he'd go, there's a dead fly in my food. And, of course, being on the road, you got to save money all the time. So they would end up giving his meal for free. He'd comp all our meals, and I was like, oh my God. He didn't give me a heads up when he did it either. I was like, what's the problem here? And I'm looking through my food going, ew. But then he gave me the heads up, so I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. How many times do you do this? As many times as I need.
I bet he does.
Unbelievable.
You actually are a man. I like so many things you've done, like a man of first. You've done so many things, becoming the UFC, the first UFC champion ever, TNA champion, UFC Hall of Famer, first ever. Like, how is that just? Like, when I see that, I consider you one of the most successful people on this earth, because you really are. You've done so much. What is the secret to your success? If you don't mind giving it out, because again, it's pretty impressive.
Well, I think there's people on this earth that have tremendous focus and tremendous determination, and I was really I understood my abilities. I understood the gifts that I was given from God, and I didn't go away from what I was blessed with. And again, like I said, I started out in pro wrestling, in North Atlantic Pro Wrestling. I became the heavyweight champion there. South Atlantic Pro Wrestling, I became the heavyweight champion there. And this was only after 6-8 months of doing pro wrestling that I carried a strap. That was in Nelson Royal's pro wrestling organization. And I carried the strap. Both those organizations, I went into the Pancrase organization in Japan. I became the first champion in the Pancrase organization. I carried the strap, obviously, Intercontinental, King of the Ring, the tag team. There's so many things that I accomplished in pro wrestling, and I was only there a year and a half before I accomplished those things, and I only did pro wrestling for 2.5 years, which was a tremendous a deal for me. So, and then I won 3 tough man contests that were like just Hickory, North Carolina, Statesville, North Carolina, and in Redding, California, and I won those tough mans. So everything that I pretty much have focused on and put my determination towards, I've always reached that elite level. I was always been able to come to that point to where I could be a world champion. And I did it in the UFC along with Pancrase in 2 different countries where it was mixed martial arts and it was fighting. And I did it in Japan and UFC almost simultaneously. And I was fighting people from all over the world in different countries. And I think that it had a lot to do with the way that I was things I went through as a young child, where I was, fighting and getting stabbed and did some strong arm robbery, and I just had this because of the way I was brought up, and I was in the juvenile system at a young age, that I had no fear. There was nothing for me to lose. I had everything to gain. And the only time I could lose anything is if I didn't focus and work for it. And so I think that was really sunk in with me real soon, is that I told myself that I did not want to be a nobody, that I was going to be something. And the only way that I could do that was through my physical prowess, is just to force myself into a situation where the only way that I could lose something is if someone took it from me. And so I went into the right direction, because these are things that I felt like I controlled my destiny, that as long as I had the strength and the conditioning and the willpower, that I would not fail. I was not going to fail.
That's so cool. Like, this saying, like this, all that you said is crazy, because just to say that you are just done everything you've done, in my mind, just as a normal person, that's just, I'm not going to say it's insane or anything. It's just amazing that you've done all that. But I'm saying with everything you've done, it probably came from a lot of hard work. And I hope to even be half of the person that you are. I mean, it's just so phenomenal.
Well, I really appreciate that, and thank you. It started early on for me too, because like even in high school, I in wrestling my senior year, I was undefeated. And then in football, I was the defensive captain. I was a leading tackler. In college, I went on to play college ball. We went to a bowl game. We won the bowl game. I was defensive captain there. Most tackles that year. It just seemed like anything that was physical that I would set my mind to, that it wasn't anything that I could not accomplish because of the tremendous focus and the athletic ability that I was gifted with.
And with
amazing.
And with WrestleMania coming up in a couple of days, as we keep talking, of course, if per se, because I know I've put out possible matches that I would love to see you in. But I mean, have you ever really, if you thought to get back in the ring for one more match at WrestleMania, who would you feel that would be a good enough person to get in the ring with to put your career on the line, as you mentioned, in a match where you either win or you don't? And I mean, what would you say? Who would you say would be your ideal opponent to face at a WrestleMania?
Well, there's always one match that I've always wanted because I felt like that I didn't get the opportunity that I should have gotten, I thought. But again, like I said, it is what it is. But, I worked against The Rock for a pretty good program, and majority of those matches that I had actually won those matches, and then it turned around on me with brass knuckles and all kinds of little tricky things that ended up going in his favor. But in every match, I was right there on the doorstep and could have gotten my hand raised if one thing or another would have not happened. So I believe that I had that opportunity and that I worked hard enough to get that shot when The Rock moved up and was working against Stone Cold and some of the other guys at that title level, that I thought that, I should have gotten that opportunity to move up and challenge The Rock for that belt. So that's one that always kind of sticks in me and makes me uncomfortable is that I felt like that's some unsettled business.
Definitely. You guys would have had some amazing matches together for me for the title, maybe for a WWE title or something like that. You guys would just work so well. So I can just imagine how it could have been. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I thought that we had gone after each other enough, and then he moved up, and I carried the Intercontinental title for a while. He moved up to that heavyweight, and then he was able to capture that heavyweight. And I thought that I would be the next one to move up because I was chasing him. I was the one that would really gave him his toughest matches, the one that really should have beaten him several times. And I thought getting that opportunity to move up again, that I would have those opportunities, and I really believe in my heart that if I would have gotten them opportunities, that I would have been carrying that strap.
I don't see why not. I mean, definitely could have seen you as a world heavyweight champion. Wanted to ask you though, Mr. Shamrock, if you are okay with it, of course, would you be okay with taking a call from one of our listeners?
Absolutely.
All right. We actually have a gentleman by the name of John who I'm going to bring on right now. So, John, you're on the air with Mr. Ken Shamrock. What's your question?
Hi, Ken. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Doing great. My question for you is, what were your thoughts about your match that you had at Backlash in 1999 against Undertaker? And if I'm not mistaken, I think there was kind of a knockout during a big boot when he was supposed to get a 2 count and you didn't put your shoulder up. Was that anything coming up to that? So I realized there wasn't a kick out. And what do you thought about the match?
I don't recall that one, but like I said, I'm not saying it didn't happen. But I do remember the choke slam, and I got him into an arm bar, and it was the first time that he showed pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Before I go, wrestlers know me as an award person. If that's good with you for an award song for you.
What's that?
I'm always known for an award song that wrestlers know me as. If that's good with you, to give you a song for a reward of how much you've accomplished over these past years.
Yeah, an award song?
Yep. My name is Ken Shamrock. Do you know who I am? I am the world's most dangerous man, and I'm the man that drives the van with my one and only hand. When I feed my wife a feed my wife a jam, and I hope that I have a fan.
That was awesome.
Okay, touche.
Well, that was awesome, John. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Great talking to you, Ken, and good luck to you.
All right, brother. Take care.
You too.
All right. Well, that was awesome. I appreciate that. That was definitely a lot of fun to listen to.
Oh, wow.
So, Austin, did you have any other questions for Mr. Shamrock?
No, that's all I got for me tonight. I really want to say, congratulations to all your success. It really inspires me. I'm not kidding, because, like I said, a week after, I talked to you, I really got inspired to go into jiu-jitsu. I'm loving it every single second. I don't think I would be knowing as much as I do now without having to talk to you, because I wouldn't have got the inspiration to go to jiu-jitsu. And it's been some of the best moments of my life the past 6 months.
Well, I'm glad, man, I think there's a responsibility to people who have been blessed enough to be in the spotlight, and for people to look up to them. We have a responsibility to inspire people in the right direction, inspire people to do the right things, and at the same time, if those people happen to be blessed enough to be able to move forward in their lives because of what someone has inspired them to do, or given them tips to do, that at the same time that they remember that when somebody actually comes up and starts talking to them because they're in that position now, that they also pass the torch. I think everybody should pass it on and always turn around and help other people that are trying to achieve your same goals, and not be afraid of someone else being successful. Pass those things on and share them with people, and just try and be blessed with what you have, and bless other people with, and share with them what you have. And I think that your life will be complete if you do that.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you now, one last thing before we let you go. If it is able to be done in your schedule, of course, being as busy as it is, I noticed quite a few guys like Jericho, like Austin, like even Jim Ross now, who's no longer part of WWE, but he's doing his own thing now with his own one-man show. But the point is, they all are doing like weekly podcasts, talking to their fans, bringing on their friends on their show, and just kind of just talking wrestling from way back when, or what inspired them to be a wrestler, or some of their favorite moments in the wrestling during the WWE or WCW, whatever the case is. Would that ever be a possibility of you ever doing your own podcast?
Well, that could be fun. The only, I think, with the problem with that is that I've got 7 kids, I've got 9 grandbabies, and 1 on the way.
Wow.
I'm very, very, very attached to my family, and I love spending time with them. But and I love being able to go out and meet the fans and do different things that I'm doing right now. So for me to do a podcast, it would probably have to be later on in my life when things slow down, but it wouldn't be something I would not want to do.
Yeah, definitely something to think about, no doubt. I'm sure your fans would love to call in and just chat with you about some of their favorite moments in your career that they saw, whether it be UFC, WWE, or even these upcoming projects that you have now or coming up.
Well, and too, this is what I do now, which is it's not really a podcast, but I've got 60-something thousand people on my Twitter, and I've been working that Twitter for a little over 3 months now. That I've just started that, and I am on there all the time talking with people about different situations and different matches, and we post different matches up there that I've had, and people talk about them, and I get on there and talk. And so that's kind of besides going out and meet people when I do different appearances and stuff like that, but my Twitter is where I'm plugged into my Twitter. And so when people want to come on there, it's at Shamrock Ken. I'm on there, and I want people to come on there and follow me. And we talk about all kinds of things, man, and I'm definitely very, very, very involved in my Twitter. So I want to make sure we plug that, because I really enjoy listening to things that we just said on this show here, where it's been an inspiration of certain things that I was able to tell people. But at the same time, I want to hear inspiration stories that other people are telling other people too. So when we're on Twitter, we're all sharing together. So get on there and check it out. I think you'd be surprised on how much stuff that we actually talk about and some of the stories that we have.
You know, I actually enjoyed that match that you had with Owen in the dungeon, and I believe it was Dan Severn was the referee that for that match. Do you remember that match?
I do. If I'm not mistaken, I think we did it once or twice. I don't remember, but I remember the match that we did was very, very difficult because you didn't have ropes to bounce off or crawl on, and it's not a big space. So it was very, very tricky, and me and Owen really went after each other, and boy, I tell you, what a match. I thought it was tremendous.
Absolutely, and he's definitely a guy who's missed very much right now, but
oh man, one of the best, one of the good guys, right? One of the good guys.
Absolutely. I can't say that. I don't know. I can't find anybody who would say anything other than that, because he was definitely a prankster, but he was also a very good-hearted person.
Yes, he was.
But on behalf of all
and I want to say this too, is he was also a very, very good family man. He was tremendous to his wife, and he was tremendous to his children.
Do you think we'll see Owen in the Hall of Fame one day?
You know what? I don't know why he's not there now. He was definitely a star, and everybody loved him. So I don't, I guess I know why, but he was something special.
Absolutely. And we can't thank you enough for coming on here again and just chatting with us and talking about old times. On behalf of Austin, myself, Mr. Shamrock, we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule with your family. I know you love being with your family. For you to give us this time to talk with us, we really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and too, I appreciate you guys, taking the time to speak with me. But like I said, it's very important for me because it does. I can at any time go on and be able to contact and talk to my fans. So my Twitter is important to me. So if you could push that and let the fans know, man, I'm on there. And if they have questions or anything, I'm the one on my Twitter. And, check it out, man. Come on and follow me, and let's talk about some good times.
Have you thought about doing a Facebook page, like a fan page, like some of the guys and gals are doing, like fan pages now, so that way you can have so many likes, and once you reach a certain limit of people that friends on your Facebook, then they'll cut you off and you can only have so many. But as a fan page, they let you have, I think it's unlimited amount of fans that can follow you.
Yeah, I got a Facebook account on there also, and I believe my fan page is being worked on right now, but we do have one.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's cool. We'll definitely keep an eye out for that, and we'll keep our listeners up to date on that as well. But, again, we want to thank you again for joining us, and we won't keep you too much longer now, so I hope you have a good night, Mr. Shamrock.
All right, listen, God bless, and thank you for all your support.
Absolutely, sir. Have a good night, man.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. What the heck was that, Austin? Sounded like a horse was coughing back there.
That was a cough, and I have no clue why it's happening. Just a few days before WrestleMania, when I'm probably not going to have a voice for, we're actually going to announce who's our next week's guest.
What is the weather like out that way? What's the weather like out there?
It's not bad. It's going to be raining for WrestleMania. Which isn't bad. I mean, it's
the Mercedes Superdome, is it a covered? Is it covered?
It's closed. It's closed the entire thing. Thank God. Thank Jesus Christ it's not a open arena like the MetLife Stadium. It was just pretty cool. I seen for the extreme weather conditions. You were there. It was probably freezing cold.
In New Jersey, I regret not dressing warmer for Jersey because I was freezing my ass off in Jersey. Oh, my God. I dressed warm because it was hot, but by the time the night came, it was almost 30 degrees.
Yeah. Heard people
my ears
are
are freezing to death. I had to get some kind of head cap or something because I didn't bring nothing to keep warm. And we were so bunched together. Hell, I was sharing a cover from another lady. And she
were?
the cover spread, so I got the tail end of the cover from the lady, and she's like, "It's okay, I know it's cold." And I was like, "Oh, bless you."
Wow, that's nice. But you should have seen the wrestlers. You would think the wrestlers would be cold. They were actually the warmest people in the building.
No, they had the heaters up that way. The heaters were up there by the entrance and all the way around the ring.
That's what I'm saying. They were the warmest people in the building because they had the special ring was set up to have the turnbuckles had holes in them where below the ring they had these furnaces heating the ring going into the ring for the entire WrestleMania to keep it hot. And they said that by the end of this, the whole entire thing, it was 75 degrees in the ring. That's how hot it was. So they were the warmest people in the building. Surprise.
Well, as far as tonight goes with Mr. Shamrock, we did press him a little longer than we thought we were gonna keep him on, but I'm glad he stayed on and chatted. Shut up. I was having fun, damn it. I don't get to try to talk very much because you keep interrupting me. Rude.
I don't interrupt anybody. We basically say it was after the question. I was about to ask the question. You asked the question at the same exact time as me. So technically, we have a tie.
Well, I always let you go first, so shut up.
It's all right. I'll let you go first next time. When we have on next Tuesday night, one half of the Killer Bees, the former tag team Killer Bees, Brian Blair. Yes, Brian Blair will be on with us next Tuesday night. That's crazy. I am a fan of his. But the Killer Bees are awesome. I mean, I love them.
They were definitely a tag team that could be reckoned with in the 1980s for the WWF. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Blair is actually also part of the Cauliflower Alley Club.
Yep.
And I definitely want to investigate a little bit more into that when we bring him on. But it will be at a special time, so keep your eyes out on our Facebook page to know exactly as far as the time to listen in. But fear not. If you're not able to listen in live, there are still ways to listen. You can listen to on demand through Blog Talk or on our YouTube channel when it becomes available. So either way, if you can't be there live, that's okay. You can still listen to it later in the day. Oh, we can't forget iTunes. We're also on iTunes.
Say what?
We're on iTunes, fool. You don't know that?
Oh yeah, iTunes. Over the past 5 months, I extremely forgot about iTunes, and that's probably the best thing to listen to. Because everybody has an iTunes account, most likely. I mean, this is 2014, and everybody's doing the LOL, GTGs, being all hip and cool. Unlike me, I'm still sticking to laugh out loud. It only takes me 3 seconds to type it. Unlike me, maybe it takes a shorter amount of time to say LOL. I just like to keep it old school. Keeping it old school. Right? Felix, keeping it old school.
What would you know about old school? Shut up. Anyway.
Terry Funk's old school.
Terry Funk is wild-eyed and crazy. Man is still wrestling and is in his late 60s.
Guess what? He's going to retire. And he's not going to retire.
The man is going to retire when he finally is going to be laid to rest. He's another guy that's going to die in that ring eventually because he was just born to be in the ring. They say the same thing about Ric Flair.
And that's a good thing. I don't know if you watched the Legends of WrestleMania thing they did on WWE.
I haven't seen it yet, so shut up.
Well, no, one thing, it's not really a spoiler or anything, but Ric Flair, he's one of the panel guys, and oh my gosh, he loves wrestling. And you probably know that, but I mean, you would think he was kind of tired of it after doing it for so many years, and he is, oh my God, he's invested in it. And I think it's a good thing, and also maybe a bad thing to kind of be wanting that. And I guess it's different for different people. But it just, for Ric Flair, after doing it for so many years, he was saying how when you leave it, and that for doing it for how many years he's been in professional wrestling, when you leave it, it's really hard. And I can see it in his face, because when they put a clip of him versus Shawn Michaels, you've seen the tears coming down.
Yeah, I did. But as far as the way things are going, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, if we have to, we'll definitely advise more as we get closer to that time. But next Sunday, episode 3 returns of the Pro Wrestling Historical Society. Is that right?
Yes, that's episode 3.
Next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Yeah, I said next Sunday. Greg
No,
Skelly
I'm just making sure I said that too.
Yes. Greg Skelly and Jimmy will be back together again. Hopefully, Greg will be able to make it. I'm saying that he will, because I believe in him. And if not, we have good old Terry Kent. I mean, him and Jimmy were excellent 2 weeks ago when they were on together. And he was saying, I don't think I had a... No, he was awesome. Those guys are phenomenal, and I applaud them, because I can be listening, and it feels like it goes by so quickly because it's so intricate from what they're talking about. They're talking about professional wrestling from they're not talking about yesterday. They're talking about so many yesterdays away. I mean, they're really going back, and from the monkey god warrior pan-human, who they credit with kind of getting the idea of wrestling from. You probably don't know what that means, and if you don't, go ask Jimmy Lord. He'll tell you all about it. And I don't know. It's Professional Wrestling Historical Society is a huge addition to the Pipebomb Radio Network.
Yes, sir. But
sounds maybe also a second. Cool.
We've also got surprises in store for the month of April, so be on the lookout for that, guys. We aren't going to say what yet, but we will. You'll definitely be seeing it. But yeah, definitely. I'm Huh?
I forgot. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say before, but I forgot. So I have to look through in my memory. Okay.
I was just saying that I've been working on this one with Brian Blair for quite some time, and we've got a good number of guests lined up for the rest of the month. Some old school guests. Let's put it that way. They're old school stars that would ring a bell. If you're old school, you'll know exactly who they are. If you're not old school, that's okay, because we always have fun with every guest, old and new, that come on. So we encourage you to stick with us for the ride.
You know, one cool thing, I actually almost had the opportunity. It's probably the most saddest day ever for a birthday, because I couldn't make it to New Orleans, to Chalmette for the Mid-South Wrestling Legends Fan Fest. I had the opportunity. This is the thing that happened. Surprise, surprise. Last night I got a message from a former guest in Pipebomb Radio, David Petrie, saying, "Oh, Austin, you want to come down, for the Legends Fan Fest? I'll give you a VIP free everything, and like you need if you help out with the yeah, I swear on my life." And I could not believe that. And I said yes at first, but then I figured out, I can't do that. That's I don't have time for that. And then everything, the people that are there, like Jim Cornette and Cowboy Bill Watts, among so many others, I almost cried my eyes out. I'm not kidding. It was really depressing after seeing all the pictures of people posting up about it. Oh my God, Mickey James, Caitlin making an appearance at the show. Just so many different people. I feel bad. Oh God, can't do everything.
That's why I get disappointed in myself too, because with these other events that happen WrestleMania weekend, I want to see them all. I was set up to go to WrestleCon last year, thanks to my friend Steve. He hooked me up with a ticket to meet the Ultimate Warrior last year, but unfortunately I couldn't get across town to get there. Being in New York is expensive as hell. And to ride the train into Jersey, it doesn't come cheap. So I regret it, because I'm going to have the opportunity to meet some of the guys I grew up watching. One guy I want to meet before anything else has to be Bobby the Brain Heenan. I want to meet him. I want to meet him. I want to meet him. But I wanted to bring to your attention something I read before we cut it off for tonight. I read something, and maybe you have too, where the WWE have flown in some old school guys. Now, one of them that's obvious is that they put in there, they're thinking they're going to put him into the Battle Royal, is the Godfather, Charles Wright. The other two is Danny Davis and Lanny Poffo, which I thought was kind of strange.
Really?
They're not going to. I don't see nothing happening with Macho Man as far as Hall of Fame this year. I don't. They've already got a full class. It wouldn't be right. But could it be something that leads to something next year? I mean, even Bret Hart has predicted that Owen could headline it next year. But if that's the case, will Randy ever get in the Hall of Fame, or will they actually look at Randy as being somebody who's too good for the Hall of Fame? Who knows?
It's really interesting you say that, because I've heard a theory that Sting might be the guy winning the Andre Battle Royal on Sunday night.
That would be interesting.
And I'm going to say this. I see it might not happen at the same time. I think it's a good possibility that it does, but it doesn't make any. It kind of doesn't make sense if he did win it, because what he's going to do? Hold the Andre Trophy while he's talking to the Undertaker, for WrestleMania 31 main event. Is the possibility of that actually happening? I don't see it happening with him winning it, but I think it'd be cool for him to make an appearance or something at WrestleMania tomorrow. I know Stone Cold Steve Austin was announced yesterday that he's going to be at WrestleMania, and the question is, but why? I know it's going to be for a cameo appearance.
I have a feeling they may have something set for him to be a part of, and they've maybe have finally started to put the wheels in motion to get it started, and maybe it is with Punk, and maybe it's not. I mean, I know they're gonna want to do cameos of guys who had the legendary battles at WrestleMania, like Austin, and maybe even The Rock, and they're trying to see if they'll have those two face to face again, like they did at WrestleMania 27.
I want to see the Paul. I want to see in a cameo appearance, or maybe up front. I don't know. See better backstage with Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, Paul Orndorff, and Roddy Piper in the same picture again. That'd be really cool.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to Access tomorrow too, aren't you?
Yep. Supposed to be going at 1 to 3 sessions if everything goes out planned. I'm gonna buy my case at the door. I didn't buy any case up front just for this occasion because you don't know who's gonna have opportunity of going to if everything's gonna go out to planning. So, and I was actually saying you were saying how it's expensive to get around New York. I was actually looking at getting a taxi to WrestleMania for Sunday, and it's over $500 for actually going there and going back. The reason why it's $500 is because they wait for you. Like, they have to wait for you at the arena. They don't really have any place to go. So they're charging you during that time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go with somebody else. I'm just going to hitch a ride.
Well, aren't your parents going?
No. Not parents, no. They're
How
really
are you going down
for that.
I'm
getting driven, but yeah. I'm going to be hitching a ride with somebody else. And the reason being is because it's not, like my family, I don't know about yours, maybe yours is huge wrestling fans, but mine is not at all.
Yeah, but you're still a young kid. I mean, you're not able to drive out and be out on your own.
No, that's why I said I'm hitching a ride with somebody.
Well, that's a big difference.
What did I say before?
Well, you could have gotten a ride with one of your buddies had you gone down there. You would have been down closer to the area. Are you going to go with maybe the guy you just mentioned, or maybe Mr. LeBlanc?
No, he's not going. He's going to be at he's going to be doing other things. He's not going to be at WrestleMania.
Oh.
There were some people. Most of my friends, most of them aren't going to WrestleMania for some reason. I guess they're doing other things, or they just decided, I'm going to just watch it at home on the WWE Network, which is really cool too. But I've actually heard
Are you sure you're going to be able to make it, though, is a question.
Absolutely. WrestleMania?
Just saying, man.
But if
it were me and I had the ticket to go, of course, I have a driver's license. I can go. I don't need to hitch a ride with anybody. But, I mean, in your predicament, it'd be kind of hard. I hope
no. Like, there's a bunch of people that's hitching a ride with one person, pitching into everything because to get there, I think it'd be smart just to have a pain-free ride and everybody pitches in for something to get there. And it'd be fun to even, road trip people to talk about WrestleMania while you're going to Superdome, which isn't far. It's only about 30 minutes away.
Well, I hope it works out for you, man. But I'm glad we were able to get Mr. Shamrock back on the show and chat with them for tonight. I was really hoping we could get him on before WrestleMania, and luckily we did. And I'm looking forward to speaking to wrestling legend Brian Blair this Tuesday night. So I guess we will be talking to you all after WrestleMania. Enjoy WrestleMania all. Enjoy the Hall of Fame. I know I will. I will be watching it on the WWE Network. You can get WWE Network for $9.99, folks. There you go.
And if you don't, you're crazy.
Well, I had fun. Tonight. So
if you don't have WWE Network, you have to first of all get the WWE app. Ken Shamrock, all of his matches that are available on there for only $9.99 a month. You can have it all.
Oh God! I just found somebody more annoying than Michael Cole.
I was actually seeing a post. I sent you this picture. They were having these fantasy matches. Michael Cole versus the WWE app at WrestleMania 31. Whoever wins gets the rights to have the WWE, gets the rights to the thing. I was I'm like, oh, that's a cool match to see. I know you would like to see it.
See what?
Michael Cole versus the WWF at WrestleMania 31.
No, that'd probably be my time to go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh! And The Rock versus John Cena wasn't last year. Didn't you say you got up and left and met Brodus Clay's girlfriend in a transit?
I did.
How ironic!
I didn't want to watch the
match. So you actually got up and did she say that she was? Did she approach you or did you approach her?
Well, no, I actually started to talk to her, and I noticed that she was really upset. And I just asked her what was, did she enjoy WrestleMania? She did, but her boyfriend was supposed to be part of the match, one of the matches, and unfortunately they cut it. I think, well, who's your? Is one? I just kind of asked, maybe is it Cody or what the hell? I can't think of his name. Damian Sandow. She said, no, it's Brodus Clay. I said, oh, well, that's cool. He's kind of fugly.
Really?
And he's a big dude. Well, to each their own, I guess. I'm not going to say anything bad about him to his face, so that's a big ass dude. But,
me either. He was a bodyguard for Snoop Dogg. I wouldn't do that either.
But I'm hoping that with all things as far as the Hall of Fame goes, I would like to think that they, because after reading an article that they did with Lanny just a few days ago that I posted it on my page, he's finally conceded. He says, you know what? The WWE can honor Randy Savage. Put him in the Hall of Fame. All that he asks is that the WWE finally send condolences to his mother about Randy. They have yet to send condolences. And if they don't send condolences to at least his mother, then when they do honor Randy on his own, don't expect Lanny to be there. He's fine with he understands that fans don't want to see him in there. He understands that fans don't want to see his father in the Hall of Fame. But this was Randy's wish. And I can definitely respect why Lanny was so gung-ho to sticking to it. I respect that. And
I mean, I think
Lanny in his time, he may not his star didn't shine as bright as Randy's. I get that. Leaping Lanny didn't get over as much. The Genius was, it got over. Angelo wasn't as as a big time as some of the guys around him, but he was a part of wrestling at that time. And if they're going to honor ridiculous people like Pete Rose, Coco Beware, Drew Carey, instead of honoring a man who's actually been in the wrestling business.
Well, I mean, if you look at Coco Beware, he might not have been, the most, one of the greatest of all time, but he is a guy that I look at as, I guess, as a person who the fans loved. And
I guess maybe in the 1980s.
I know, but that was still a time that I guess it counts. Andre Giant was in the 1980s, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He's the first ever Hall of Famer.
I know that. That's just for the love of the McMahons have for Andre. It had nothing to do with priority first, because if they wanted to put somebody in first, could have been guys like Gorgeous George or Lou Thesz or Frank Gotch or these. There's so many more deserving names that need to go into that Hall of Fame, but because it's Vince McMahon's Hall of Fame, and he has to give the approval first, I wonder if we will ever see Randy in the Hall of Fame. That's all I'm going to say. I just know that Lanny has conceded to say that he's fine with them putting him in the Hall of Fame and not putting Angelo and Lanny in. I just, I have to stick with Randy's wishes. That's just me as a fan, and me something I would like to see, because I know that would make Randy happy, and I know that would make the family very happy. What's that?
Did Randy actually say that was his wish on camera, or did Lanny just say, okay, well, this is Randy's wish?
Why would Lanny make something like that up?
How would he know? How would we know?
Trust me, that's just not. No, sorry, I don't agree with that. And you're entitled to your opinion, but this is something that I believe.
No, it wasn't an opinion. It was more of a.
Because you believe there's something that maybe Lanny just thought this up on his own, which he didn't.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that either. And I think if it was Randy's wish for them all to be in the Hall of Fame, that would be pretty cool just to see it happen. But I think, honestly, they, especially the Paso family, has done a lot. And people don't see it. Lanny I mean, well, Lanny's done a good bit too, but I'm talking about their father.
Well, they get on Lanny's case because he's the sole survivor of the Powerful Men, and they get on him because they think he's preventing WWE from putting the Powerfuls in the Hall of Fame, and that's just not true. The WWE they did little things here and there, and I have to agree, and I think you even heard it too when Lanny was on here. That little video they did was just something for PR. It's not something because they knew that he has appeal still to the fans, so they threw up this little video to show. Oh well, you know what, we showed our concern. Here's a video tribute that we did for him. Well, that's fine and dandy, but you know what? When in the 1980s, Randy Savage was neck and neck with Hogan. If there was anybody higher than Hogan or even close to Hogan, it was Randy.
Or even higher, yeah, or even higher than Hulk Hogan. Randy Savage was a cornerstone for WWE for a while. And I think he contributed to a lot of the success that it had. And if it was for him, they wouldn't be where they are today. If it wasn't for a number of people, they wouldn't be where they are today.
No.
Randy Savage is loved by so many people.
He is, and he still is, and he still gets talked about to this day. And that's why I'm very proud to say about my wrestling page that I have of his. Fans are so passionate about that, about him, and on that page. It's just very nice to read that people still care about him and still respect what he brought, and even talk about the love story that the love affair he had with Liz, almost 25 plus years later. As far as Elizabeth goes, will she ever go in? I don't know. I don't say I will not say no, because I know deep down Vince thought she was definitely a beautiful lady, and it was a big part of Randy's career. But would Randy Savage have been successful without Liz? What do you think?
No, she has to. I'm talking about absolute times 10, 110%. Miss Elizabeth has to be put in the Hall of Fame because she has been a part. I mean, you see those picture moments, those moments that just stick out. And, it's like Randy hoisting up her shoulder, her shoulder. And those are moments that will live on forever. Not just that. I mean, she's done numerous things that people have known her for. She has to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you look at Sensational Sherry. She's been a manager for a number of guys, almost in the same position that Miss Elizabeth was in. And she's in the Hall of Fame.
Only difference is that Sherry was actually tough as nails in the ring because she wasn't just some mouthpiece. She got in there and got physical.
I know.
She was not afraid to hurt anybody.
You can hear her in the background in all the matches that she was in, managing the ring, and you can hear her definitely. She doesn't need a mic.
Something to this extent would be perfect for an idea that we're working on right now. I'm not going to go too much into this, but look at we'll talk more about this after the show. I don't want to give too much away. But in this general topic itself. That article really kind of, and I understand. My heart goes out to Lanny because of all the people that kind of get on him, and people are really hard on him because of the fact that they really feel he's not letting Randy go in the Hall of Fame. Randy should only go in there by himself. Many people believe that, and they're entitled to believe that because Randy's star was bigger than Lanny and Angelo's could ever be. But we're not ones that can decide that. Only Vince McMahon could decide that. And deep down, many people won't admit it, but even Triple H may have a say in that, and Stephanie McMahon. They may have a say, but ultimately it comes down to Vince himself. And will he ever let bygones be bygones and honor the man's wish now that he's not here anymore to defend himself? I mean, they're still in cordial relationship. They have a cordial relationship with Lanny. Lanny has appeared on some of their programming, as you have already told me yourself.
Yeah. So I mean, if they can mend ways with the Ultimate Warrior, they can mend ways with
See, that one's got a lot of people wondering, especially with Warrior, because he's so outspoken and just goes off the lamb at times. They're wondering if he's going to be able to stick to his speech and not try to berate WWE too much.
Well, I think he sort of did that in his documentary. If you've seen the preview, he didn't outright say different stuff about his bashing WWE, but he basically set the record straight. He's like, this time this is the real deal. This is the real story that you're going to get from my mouth, not anybody else's.
Well, I have nothing against the man. I just don't feel like he ever really contributed much to the wrestling business, and that's just my opinion. He is he a Hall of Fame worthy?
Absolutely.
Is he Hall of Fame worthy? Of course, I could say yes. Absolutely, because people still talk about his match with Hogan in Skydome. And that was almost 25 years ago.
I know, but he is, I think besides this match that they had with numerous people, he was known for his intensity. That was it.
Absolutely.
And coming out running and shaking the ropes and stuff like that. I think he was the person that kind of brought that out in a ton of people in the future. And he really brought it when he did his entrance. And oh my God, it's great to go back and see. And I hope he comes out. And my one wish for Sunday WrestleMania is that he comes out during a match or something that just put on the card for whatever. He comes running out and then just only thing that needs to happen: shake the ropes, blah blah blah, body splash. That's all. And you know all the stuff he does. That's my one wish. I would be excited to see that happen. He is definitely that's his regular moveset and runs through the ropes and plays that. It's great. I would love that.
You know, they had been talking about letting Warrior actually be part of WrestleMania as far as physically.
I don't know how they can do that. It'd be interesting to see how they would put that in, with the hometown WrestleMania 30. But I don't know who would step up to do that. Like, who would they put in his path?
Well, there had been speculation that maybe Ryback, but I fear Ryback may actually hurt the man.
Well, maybe the other way around. You don't know.
Warrior was never really
Daniel Bryan can
either.
do it. If Daniel Bryan can hurt Ryback, I think the Ultimate Warrior has a good chance of doing the same thing.
Well, Warrior has been known to be pretty intense as well and be brutal in the ring. I mean, he was never really a wrestler. It was the guys who he worked with that made him look like $1 million. Even guys like Honky Tonk Man, even Hogan. People shit on him quite a bit because they say he can't wrestle, but believe it or not, the man knows how to wrestle.
Yes,
he does know how to wrestle.
In Japan matches, yes, he can wrestle.
And then of course, Randy Savage.
Oh my God! You actually found out he had a match with Jushin Liger, and I seen this in Jack Jameson's profile, but I found that out a year earlier because I was just searching YouTube, and I'm like, Jushin Liger versus Macho Man Randy Savage. I didn't even know that existed, and I seen it a few days ago. I just watched it again. I'm like, oh my God, that was great, Randy Savage. And it's funny because the matches that you would see in WWE with guys like Macho Man and Hulk Hogan are entirely different from what you see if you're watching something in Japan. I mean, entirely different. It's a whole new different game. And like we talked with Sonny Ono last week, I mean, he kind of explained how different it is from going to a company like WWE from a company like New Japan Pro Wrestling, and how there's different styles.
Yeah. You come across these old videos and you're like, damn, I never knew. Small world. You see these guys get in the ring with some of the guys that, you wouldn't expect to be wrestling back in Japan, or at least with some of the stars out in Japan. But, yeah, it just goes to show you these guys, even for guys who didn't even know that, just keeping on the subject to Randy for a second, that his family had a territory, I believe it was correct me if I'm wrong, those who are listening, if I'm not mistaken, it was in like the Memphis area, possibly Arkansas, possibly Alabama area, in the South. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, he actually.
I don't remember exactly where exactly it was, but I know it was in the South.
Yeah, it was in the South, and he had a huge rivalry with Jerry Lawler, which culminated in a steel cage match that I thought was just awesome. I think one of Jerry Lawler's shining moments. Besides anything WWE, that was his shining moment. These Randy Savage and steel cage.
Would you say that Angelo Poffo could be easily compared to maybe be Stu Hart of the Midwest?
Absolutely. That's a good comparison. So if you're comparing size and stature with, I promise you, the Poffos, the Hart family outweighs in number for the Poffos. But I think that'll be a kind of a fair comparison, I guess. Maybe not. Maybe in some different ways. If you would be looking at it from I think if you would be looking at it from this way, that Stu Hart was the man that he was, and then he had two guys that went on to become really successful, Bret Hart and Owen. Then you have Angelo with Randy and Manny. So, and what's kind of interesting about that? But if you look at Randy Savage, he was more successful than Manny. You look at Bret Hart, he was more successful than Owen, and they were brothers. So, I find that interesting now, just thinking about it. I don't know what that is. I guess it's different paths.
Yeah, that's something to think about. But I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and call it a close for tonight. We started getting off in a little conversation, and what can I say? When it comes to certain topics in the wrestling business, wrestling superstars, I tend to get a little passionate about it, and I start to talk about it too much. People know where my loyalties lie as far as who I like, who I don't like. And sometimes even those who get involved in the conversation, whether it be listening or even calling in or posting on our social media, whatever the case is, definitely I appreciate that. But we're going to go ahead and give it a break for now, so Austin can go enjoy WrestleMania this weekend, as will I. But
yeah,
from home,
make sure you have a fun time watching it on TV. I'll be there live in person, experiencing the Yes movement.
Well, you'll definitely get to feel it. That's for sure.
I shouldn't say that now because I know it's going to bite me in the nether regions. First, yeah, it took us. Let's go with that. For next year, for WrestleMania 31, within your neck of the woods, when we actually have the possibility of seeing Sting versus Undertaker, and then I believe if that actually happens, I honestly think I would have to get a plane ride and head down there because it's a match I have to be there live to see. If it happens.
And especially if they consider doing Austin and Punk. That'd be another match I want to see. And maybe
cool
even put
and
maybe even put Owen Hart and Randy Savage, or let me rephrase that, Owen Hart and the Poffo family in the Hall of Fame, even though they don't do two competitors who are deceased.
That could be.
They usually do one that's deceased every year.
That could be a theme for WrestleMania next year. The things you wouldn't think happening, like Randy or Owen in the Hall of Fame, happen. The matches you didn't think would happen, like Sting versus Undertaker, Stone Cold versus CM Punk would be happening. That would be a cool concept and theme for WrestleMania 31 if they want to go with it.
Absolutely. Give it one last run for old Stone Cold, and the last ride of the Dead Man, or maybe even the last ride of the man. I don't know. What would you call Sting? The Man Called Sting. There you go.
Yep. And just saying one last thing. I know I'm going off topic here again. Stone Cold, I honestly believe this. I we were just thinking about this a few days ago. I honestly think he doesn't have to come back to WWE. I think he shouldn't have a match with CM Punk. I think it's a matter of fans would like to see, and it's an obvious match that this works well together. But the match that he left off with, I mean, if you're talking about matches versus one-on-one, with The Rock, that's it. I think that's the way he should end it forever with how it ended. And that's my idea on it. It's my thought on it. I think how he ended it is the perfect way to go out. I don't think he has to come back for another match. And if it does happen, I'm still going to be happy with it. But if he chooses not to, I'm perfectly okay. Because the way he ended it is just awesome. There's a lot of wrestlers who might not have had the actual chance to end it how he wanted to, like how they wanted to.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Mick Foley is a prime example. I don't think I know he has a lot of respect for Edge, but I think he wanted something more. Like he didn't really have that moment, that really ending the career's moment. And I kind of feel bad for him that he didn't have the opportunity, but Stone Cold did, Shawn Michaels did, and not many people do.
Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true.
Yeah.
So, on behalf of Austin and myself, folks, thanks for hanging with us all this time. Enjoy WrestleMania weekend. We'll be back Tuesday night with Killer B, Brian Blair. So I'll just say, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars, folks. Good night. Good night, Austin.
Good night.